I'm back with Mother Jones' David Corn to dig into this. David, I was sitting in the back of that hearing room. At times it was slow, and at times it was complex, which means it's actually worth pulling out some of the big moments. Take a look at this one with Congressman Jeffries.
The crime of obstruction of justice has three elements, true?
True.
Your investigation found evidence that President Trump took steps to terminate the special counsel, correct?
Correct.
The investigation found substantial evidence that when the president ordered Don McGahn to fire the special counsel and then lie about it, Donald Trump, 1, committed an obstructive act, 2, connected to an official proceeding, 3, did so with corrupt intent. Those are the elements of obstruction of justice.
Is he onto something there?
Well, he is. He was reciting, from Mueller's own report, which gave us about 10 instances of varying degrees of possible charges of obstruction of justice. Some were stronger. There are different elements, as Hakeem Jeffries just went through, and he picked one that really was like 3 for 3, right? There are several of those in the report, and it leads to the question, well, why didn't you indict? And we know why, because the Justice Department said I couldn't. But under any definition that a prosecutor would use, that's an indictable crime that the person should be charged with.
Then you have the fact that under the law, it is legal to lie to most people.
Yes.
You can lie to your friends. You can lie to you can lie to the ice cream counter person. You can lie to your barista. It is illegal to lie to the government, which is why this moment stood out.
In fact, there were many questions that you asked the president that he simply didn't answer. Isn't that correct?
True.
And there were many answers that contradicted other evidence you had gathered during the investigation. Isn't that correct,
Yes.
Director Mueller? Could you say, Director Mueller, that the president was credible?
I can't answer that question.
Director Mueller, isn't it fair to say that the president's written answers were not only inadequate and incomplete, his answers showed that he wasn't always being truthful?
I would say generally.
David?
Here you have a Republican, former FBI director, saying that generally the president of the United States is not truthful, is not credible. And has any Republican, any elected Republican or Republican leader said anything about that? Well, the answer is no. We have the Washington Post with over 10,000 documented cases of the president either lying or making a false statement. It just seems that on this particular issue, the cult of Trump has just thrown up their hands and say, we don't care. But that is the type of thing that, if perhaps presented appropriately with maybe a little bit of pizzazz, is something that might resonate with voters out there who don't watch cable news every day, but watch that.
And then you have what you just alluded to earlier on whether you can indict a president after they leave office. Take a look.
Could you charge the president with a crime after he left office?
Yes.
You believe that you could charge the president of the United States with obstruction of justice after he left office?
Yes.
No one's ever heard Bob Mueller say that under oath in public at the conclusion of investigating Donald Trump, with a report sitting there that talks about conserving and preserving evidence for later potential prosecution. That's pretty newsworthy, and so we want to add to it with our own reporting here at The Beat, because on Mueller night, we had the president's lawyer, Jay Sekulow, on. I asked him directly about that. Take a look at his response.
With regard to future prosecutions, let's not forget that the Department of Justice concluded there was no obstructive intent. So I don't buy any of that. I'm not concerned about that. I think this was a very good, if this was the Democratic Party's best case to put forward today, as many of your friends have said, they did not move the needle. This was a good day for the president.
What do you think of his answer?
Well, you know what the Nobel laureate Bob Dylan said, right, Ari? The pump don't work because the vandals took the handle. And we don't have a Justice Department that I think is a fair arbiter. We can go on and on about Bill Barr's letters and pronouncements in which he mischaracterized and miscontextualized Mueller's report. It's too bad there was such a long time frame, it seems long, between when that happened and when Mueller got to speak for his own report, as he did yesterday. And what is a Trump lawyer going to say? But we don't care, we don't care, we don't care. I mean, the report is, you've had many lawyers on the show said again and again and again, this is unprecedented to produce this much evidence that gets to the issue of the president committing a crime, but also to the bigger issue that Mueller spoke to, unfortunately, in the afternoon, after much of the day was set in stone, in which Adam Schiff got him to talk about, in Schiff's word, Trump's disloyalty to the country, how he went along and encouraged and benefited from an attack on the United States from a foreign adversary. That's what we really should still be talking about, but it's hard to do that in a political context when Trump and the Republicans keep gaslighting the world and the nation by saying none of that stuff happened, it doesn't matter, and the real issue is why the FBI began an investigation. You
brought up Dylan. You know what Dylan applies to the beginning of that Mueller hearing?
You tell me.
One more cup of coffee before I go.
To the valley below.
To the valley below, because it seemed like as the hours went on, Mueller either got caffeinated or got warmed up. Like anyone, sometimes you need a little time and you need an extra cup.
Well, he also could have sung, "This is the story of Crossfire Hurricane."
Wow. Hurricane, though, being a great Dylan song about a false accusation, I don't think you would associate Hurricane, other than that pun, that incredible pun, with Donald Trump.
Well, I would say that what the Republicans are trying to do is to prevent justice from being done.
And that wasn't a dad joke. That was just you bringing it home.
Yeah, bringing it back home, as Dylan would say.
I guess we have to stop. I know I can feel, I can't hear it, but I can feel 1,000 remotes changing channels. I'm kidding. I love you, David.
Don't want to do that.
No, I love you, David. I love your references, and I love your longtime knowledge of this story. Our viewers will remember you were on this case during 2016. You were reporting things out where people said, is this even important? Is this real? You were ahead of this story, which is why we've come back to you. What a story it's been.
Yeah, and it shouldn't go away. I mean, there's still a lot here that the public needs to process.
David Corn, thank you. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.